YouTube, welcome back to our channel. This is Nicole, and in today's video I wanted to talk about postpartum shedding and my theory that it's not normal and that it's not okay, and what I'm going to do to prevent it this time around, because baby number 3. Okay, so I shot a clip a few weeks ago before I twisted my hair up, showing my progress from a year ago when I made my postpartum hair styling video, and I showed that my edges have grown back.
My hairline
have my baby hairs
filled out, especially my temples. They're still the shortest pieces, but it's not bald. And my hairline has grown back in from receding. And you can see it's about 6 inches long, so about a year of growth. It's super thick and then thin. This is my new growth. If you see my last hair video, this was all bald. This wasn't here. So it's grown back. And I'm going to keep it there. Stay tuned. Now all of this pre-babies was down to here. So this isn't just the lifespan of this area of my hair, because I've seen it grow significantly longer than this. This is not just the expected growth cycle to say that it's supposed to be short or something like that.
All throughout my hair, the thickness is coming back in, which makes it even more weird. Not as weird as the thinning I had before when I was shedding, but it's still weird because now my roots, like about 6 inches up, are really thick from my normal density, and then the ends are what was left from my first and my second postpartum shedding. My first round of postpartum shedding, I just attributed to what everyone was saying, and they said it's normal, it's your hormones being imbalanced, and they're trying to get back to normal, and so your hair sheds because that's the amount of hair you would have shed had you not been pregnant. So I had my second son 2 years after my first, and before I was pregnant, I saw a few ladies that had their kids close behind each other, and I was watching to see what they would say about their hair shedding, and a lot of, well, one in particular expected it to not shed as much, but it did shed as much as she did have the first round. So I thought, maybe it's just her, or maybe it won't be the same for me. So I didn't think too much of it, but at the same time I was a little confused because her hair was in locks, so it's not like she was pulling and tugging at her hair, and she was very particular about being low maintenance. So I figured if she was shedding after her second baby, after I think it was a year after her first, or her second after her third, either way, it was kids close in age, I figured if she shed and she has locks that are very low manipulation on the hair and the scalp, what's gonna happen to me? And lo and behold, no preventative measures. I didn't even think I needed preventative measures. My hair shed. And you can see from my styling video, my hairline receded probably 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And this was for baby number 2, which I had about 2 years after baby number 1. Now, this is what made me start wondering, how accurate is this theory that your hair sheds after birth because of the hair regaining the phases that it normally goes through after it's been in rest mode for 9 months. That's not true. And I know it's not true because my hairline, I was on a growth journey, and my hairline particularly had grown about 10 inches before I got pregnant with my first. And 2 years is not how long it took me to get to 10 inches. And it completely shedded out after I had my second baby, after only reaching 6 inches. If that, I think it only got to 4 inches actually. So 4 inches of growth in 2 years, and it shedded out completely. So that told me that my hair, at least my hairline, was not in rest mode, and then it reached the shedding phase it would have normally reached after I had the baby, and that's why it shedded so dramatically. That's what the common consensus is. Your hair sheds that much because it wasn't shedding at all or very little during pregnancy, and therefore it sheds an obscene amount after you give birth. And that's what you would have had throughout that year, and now it's just all coming out at once. That's a lie. So that took me by surprise because I didn't expect it, and I believed the narrative that shedding was normal after postpartum in the way that it happened, the dramatic way that it happened, a receding hairline and thinning all throughout my hair dramatically. After that, I realized that my hair is not the same. It's not the hair I'm used to. It's not my hair. The thickness I'm used to, it still appeared thick, but having been dealing with my hair for 8 years now, natural, I knew it was different. And it was a difference that I didn't like. The health was still there on the hair that stayed, but the shedding was unappealing. And now I'm pregnant with number 3, and it's even less time in between. It's about 1 year and 6 months or something like that. And I don't want to shed my hair again. I don't want to shed. I don't think I can afford to shed. Then it definitely is going to be not just appearing different. There's clearly going to be sparseness throughout my hair with any style I try after baby number 3, if I continue on the narrative that this is normal. So, that being said, I have planned a regimen to combat the postpartum shedding that I'm sure is going to try to creep in, but we're going to stop it in its tracks because it's not normal, and it is something that you can fight back. And I've gathered my own research. I'm not going to share that. Just a few things I've decided will work for me. You can look into whatever you want to look into. I just would like you to know it might be a common thing to have postpartum shedding, but it's not normal. And I think it's so common because nowadays a lot of women don't really have babies, and even if they do, there's not that big of a community as there used to be. Maybe in the 50s or like my grandmother's time, when a lot more women were having babies and they were talking about it and they were sharing their stories and their little wives' tale on how to get over this or get over that, or why does this happen, why is this not happening. I feel like that community essence of womanhood is a little lost or under the radar, and so we expect certain things we see like postpartum shedding to be normal, when there's probably a method to getting over it. Just like I found, sidetrack, this little herb bottle to help combat postpartum cramping. If you know anything about breastfeeding, or even just postpartum cramping after you had the baby and your uterus is shrinking, that is very annoying. And there's little you can take for that, and it is intense. And it gets worse with every baby you have. So if you want a big family, prepare yourself. If you didn't know that there's actually something you can take for that without any side effects, that's completely natural, that will limit or completely annihilate that.
Game over.
I think I'll put that in the description, just a side note, if anybody's pregnant and wants that information. Because I know I do, and the heating pad I used last time did not help. Anyways, yeah, so I think that the community essence of sharing secrets and picked up information from people who've been mothers longer than you have been lost, because a lot of women aren't having babies, and when they do, they're not talking to each other about it. They're not talking about the ailments they have, what their pregnancy was like, and how they combated certain issues. So that being said, I think that postpartum hair shedding has gotten out of control and has become a expected side effect of giving birth, without people questioning if it's really normal or preventable. I think it's preventable. And disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I hate this disclaimer, because a doctor isn't God, nor does a doctor know more about you than what you're willing to give. So I'm just saying the truth. There's so much information out there. You can find out any answer to your question if you really are willing to look for it. But I guess liability's sake, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, so you don't have to listen to me. But if you're curious, this is what I plan to do after baby number 3 pops out and I'm encroaching on postpartum shedding. I have my notes. One of the things that jumped out to me, that hair loss in it of itself is not okay, it's not normal, is when people are sick, they have hair loss. When they have some issues that require outside medical intervention, it usually can affect their overall physical appearance. Their skin dulls, their nails become brittle, they lose their hair. And I noticed that happened after my first 2 pregnancies, that my nails actually did get a little brittle. They didn't grow as long. Even now you can see I have easily grown out nails. Like, these are all my nails. But they broke so easily after my first and second pregnancy. And my skin broke out like crazy. And I didn't know how to combat that. I didn't understand it, because I didn't have skin problems in high school or even college. Like, I'd have a breakout hair or two, but that's because I'm lazy and I don't wash my face, but whatever. But the amount of acne I got after pregnancy, it was cystic, it was clearly hormonal. After I did my research, I could see it was clearly hormonal, and it wasn't anything that a cleanser could have fixed, because it was internal. And if it's showing on the outside that your nails aren't growing, your skin, the glow in your skin has dulled, and you have acne that is not easily treated by medication or just cleansing your face, it's something internal that's off. And a part of that is your hair shedding. Little fun fact is your hair, skin, and nails, and just your outward appearance, is the last to receive any nutrients you take. So from your food or your supplements, the last place to receive or to see the growth of that is going to be the outside. It's going to go to what's most important, your organs, your blood, whatever is inside. It's going to get nourished first. And then the excess will go to the superficial parts of your body. So if your hair, skin, and nails are not looking the best, that means inside you're really not at your best. You're not at your most optimal nutrition or your most optimal health. And that's what shows me that postpartum shedding is a sign that your body's not where it needs to be. But that also tells me that you can probably combat that and stop it before it starts. Just like with any sickness or disease, you can heal yourself, figuring out what's triggering it and why it's happening. And the fact that it's happening when it wasn't before shows that there is something that needs to be looked at, something you need to change. So, hair loss isn't normal. It's not okay. And it's not it's not because your hair has been in rest mode since pregnancy. Okay, so the plans I have to minimize and hopefully completely stop my postpartum shedding before it even starts is with my hair care. Initially, I was going to also take something to immediately balance my hormones, but my instincts tell me that maybe I should hold off on that, because I feel like the natural progression of that, for me anyways, is more than enough. So I'm not going to mess with my hormones just yet. I'll give that 6 months after birth to see if I need to add any supplements to regulate that. But I do know that the drastic change from pregnancy to not pregnant will cause and has caused hair loss, and among other simple, superficial changes. And I am going to do topical things instead of taking hormone pills. It's not hormone pills. Pills to regulate my hormone imbalance. So like natural herbs, i.e. taking raspberry leaf tea, that just help with, or iodine, that help with the body's natural thyroid and uterus and things that are natural. My internal hormone supplementation is not prescription based, and it's not birth control based, because birth control is the killer. But it's also, I feel, a little rushed if I take it before 6 months, because I really don't want anything messing with my milk supply. And even just I think something like chamomile might be off-putting to your milk, while something like oats, don't quote me on that, but something like oats replenishes it. So just simple food sources can put off your milk supply. And I've never had a problem with my milk, and I don't want to have a problem with my milk, so I'm just gonna take the ingesting of herb help on the back burner until I'm ready. But externally, these are the things I plan to do to help counteract my postpartum shedding. And one of them is, or number one, is T-rinxes. I've seen, and a lot of these come from YouTubers and Instagram followers. Basically, my community of women that I rely on are online. I don't really have too many women my age who are mothers, who are going through these issues, who care enough to look into it personally for me to talk to, so I connect online, hence my video. Natural85 had made a video years ago about T-rinxes and shedding, and I had tried it. She had recommended green tea. I tried it and I didn't notice any difference. But then I tried black tea because I had it, and I just don't drink it. I rather drink herbal teas, floral teas. So I figured I don't want to waste it. Let me try the T-rinx again. And it was night and day. It was like It was like a golf ball size of shedding. And this is now, during my pregnancy. Golf ball size of shedding versus a pencil eraser. Like, no joke. Within a week of wash day, like one wash day was my normal expected golf ball size, and the other wash day was like a pencil amount, and the only difference I did was the black tea rings. And I believe the second and third wash day after that, it was similar. It was very, very, very minimal shedding compared to what I've been used to for years. So I figure, I don't know why, the green tea wasn't enough, but the black tea definitely helped. And I know she said green tea specifically because it can be very drying. But if you've tried rinsing with green tea to stop shedding and it doesn't work, maybe you need the black tea like I did. And, you know, with anything, if you have a side effect, you just find something to override that. So if it's going to be too drying for you, then have something really conditioning. It just goes on what's most important to you. So if stopping the shedding is important, make sure you have a moisturizing conditioner to follow up with. So I know that works. I'm going to use that, number one. And I also saw a YouTuber / Instagrammer. I'll include these people's names because I can't remember anything right now, and I'm not even going to try. She had 3 kids previously. They weren't back to back, but she's had 3 kids previously, so she's accustomed to the shedding. And I saw it was like a question somebody asked, and they were saying, how did you counteract shedding? Your edges look really good. And she said, I know, I didn't expect that, but I did do a couple of green tea rinses, and my shedding was a lot more minimal than I was used to. And I was like, boom. I have Natural Lady 5, then I have this lady who's specifically talking about her shedding in regards to postpartum and how the tea had helped minimize that. And mind you, I did nothing. I did nothing first time around. I did nothing second time around to minimize my shedding. So I feel like anything is going to be a step up from what I was doing. And I'm going to do everything. Everything I feel like I need to do to make this a non-issue. Green tea rinses, number 1. Number 2, rice water. There's a lot of a little controversy about the effects or importance of rice water, but like I said at the beginning, do your own research with whatever you're going to use or not going to use or interested in, and then draw your own conclusions. You're an adult. You can surmise what's right and what's not right. If you can, then ask somebody you trust. I came to the conclusion that rice water is safe and okay and effective. I used it for a few months on and off, not every wash day. But I noticed that my hair was a lot fuller, quicker. I feel like my first regrowth from my baby number 1. Hold on. Jude?
A few moments later.
I feel like my first regrowth, my hair coming back in from baby number 1, was a lot slower than baby number 2. And again, I mean, I changed shampoos and conditioners, but that's something I've always done. The only main difference that I was doing, and this is before I tried the black tea rinse, was rice water. And I really do think it helped my hair grow in a lot faster. I didn't document it. I wasn't tedious about it, but I noticed it because I would do my puffs, I would do my ponytails, I'd even do my twist outs, and I noticed my roots were a lot thicker, of like a lot sooner. And I say a lot sooner because I have my kids around the same time. My first is in January and my second was in February. And this one's going to be in February. Did not plan any of that. Anyways, so around the time where I didn't expect as much growth is when I started seeing growth the second time around. So like towards the end of the year, when my postpartum shedding had stopped, because I shed from 3 months to 6 months. So after the 6-month mark, my hair started growing in a lot quicker than it did the first time around. And the only thing I could attribute that was majorly different was the rice water. So I'm going to be doing the rice water now after my rinses, or interchangeably. 1 week this, 1 week rinses, another week rice water, and then another week I'm going to do sweet potato hair masks. I got this again from Natural 85. She described all the benefits of the sweet potato hair mask. I'm talking enough to not need to describe that right now. I'm sure this video will be long without that. So if you really want to know the health benefits of putting sweet potato on the scalp topically, you can go watch her video. Honestly, I only did it once. I don't even remember if I saw a significant difference. I felt like it was a little softer the next wash day, my hair. I don't really even remember what it felt like after I rinsed the sweet potato out. But I did notice it was softer a few wash days after that. And I wasn't doing anything else. Again, this is like a whole year's worth of information. This whole pregnancy, I've been doing these things, not even realizing that I'd be coming to this conclusion. So I tried the sweet potato hair mask, and it's easy to do. Sweet potatoes are cheap, and it's just sweet potato and olive oil with water, and you just slap it on your head and let that sit. And most importantly, one of the benefits is reducing shedding. So green tea, green/black tea, rice water, and the sweet potato. The sweet potato and the rice water particularly promote hair growth as well. So it's reducing whatever shedding could happen, but you're also getting a rejuvenation of your hair growth that you probably need if your hair is already shed from 2 kids. So that's my wash day regimen. It'd be a week one thing, a week another thing. Not too strict on that. I mean, I'm sure if it's easier to do black tea rinse 2 weeks in a row, I'm going to do black tea rinse 2 weeks in a row. Same goes for any of them. But I'm doing all 3 so my hair doesn't get used to it. Because if your hair gets used to it like anything else, then it stops being effective. So I'm either going to do one or the other, and I might even take a week to just rest and do nothing, because I'm sure I'll be lazy. But the fact that I'm actually doing something, I'm pretty sure will have a significant effect on my postpartum shedding, or lack thereof. And then after my shedding, I'm going to oil my scalp. I don't typically oil my scalp. I feel like my scalp doesn't need it. I feel as though it might be a little excessive to oil my scalp normally. But I'm going to give it a try for this postpartum fight. But specifically with oils that I know are going to help me combat this shedding. So one oil in particular is going to be primrose oil. Now that is a game changer. I've used that on my face. I used that on my face for my boys after I've had them. And I've had the cystic acne from my hormones trying to get back to normal. And it was the only thing that worked. I used it as a moisturizer. Nothing else worked. But as soon as I started using that, I guess towards the end of my first pregnancy, towards the end of my postpartum acne journey, my skin healed dramatically. And then after my second baby, I used it immediately after I had him. And I never got the acne as bad as I did the first time. So it was like little breakouts here or there, but they were like little whiteheads, as opposed to the really deep red pulsating cystic acne I got the first time when I didn't know how to solve it. And I even got lazy and didn't use it a few times, and those really red, deep under the skin acne started coming in. And that proved to me, oh, I actually am doing something by using these primrose oil, because I immediately started using it and my skin started clearing back up. And I'm using it now because I'm getting that cystic acne, or at least I've gotten it. It's clearing up now. I've gotten it though towards the beginning of this pregnancy, which I've never gotten during any of my pregnancies, which is why I think this is a girl and not a boy, because I have 2 boys, but that's another story. So I'm going to use the primrose oil on my scalp, and then I'm going to use that mixed with rosemary, peppermint, and jojoba as my carrier oil, because jojoba is very light and close to our natural sebum. So I'm just going to mix all those together, and probably occasionally, closer towards the wash day or immediately after wash day, put that on my scalp, just as a safety net from all the other masks and rinses to combat this. Maybe there's an easier way to stop the shedding. I don't know. This is just my first experiment. I plan on having 4 kids, so if this isn't 100%, see me on the 4th kid. But I think that this will work. I think this will work, and I hope you give one of them a try, or at the very least feel confident that if you wanted to stop postpartum shedding, it is something you can stop. It's not something to just accept. There's nothing acceptable about hair loss. There's nothing normal about hair loss. Hair loss, like anything wrong with the skin or the body, is a sign that something's not okay and something needs to be fixed, if fixable. And I believe that this is one of those things. So I know I had a lady in particular comment that this postpartum shedding on my styling video was one of the reasons she was scared to have a baby. So if this can help anybody who is pregnant or who's thinking about getting pregnant but, loves their hair, feel safe and confident that it's not going to be the end of their beauty, because who doesn't like to look beautiful? Clearly I'm not a rocket scientist here, but everybody has their interests, and one of mine is hair. So I was really torn up about this. It really bothered me that my hair was shedding and I didn't know why, and I couldn't control it, and I know I did nothing wrong physically, and I know, and that's confirmed because my hair is growing back, and it's growing back to the thickness it had before. So what in the name, what in God's name was stopping me from keeping my hair, and why was it so... Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you try some of my suggestions. I'll be back after baby to show what is or isn't working and what my hair is looking like. I think the telltale will be at the 3-month mark, because that's when I always start shedding. From 3 months to 6 months, my hair falls out like a fur ball. So we'll see. We'll see if I ever get to that point. But I think after baby, which would be sometime after Valentine's Day 2020, I'm going to start this, and I'll be back to update you on that. Thanks for watching. See you in another video. Oh, I gotta pee. Oh, belly shot. I always wanted to do this. This is me at 9 months. This is 9 months. 9 months. 9 months and some change. Well, 9 months. Some change will be 40 weeks. This is 36 weeks.